Hello and welcome back to the Red.
Silence, waste of skin.
Hello and welcome back to the Red Path. Today I've got Ainsleigh Barber with me, who you may recognise from several videos online. We've got the Blessed Lady Angron with a slash in between there. Ainsleigh, how are you doing today?
Great. How are you doing today?
I am not too bad, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for taking your time and coming on and let me interview you a little bit here.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, you're more than welcome. It's great to see you.
This is the whole interview. Thank you.
All right, thanks. All right, you have a great great Monday. Okay. Just for folks watching or listening, Ainsleigh and I we've been chatting for a little while. Ever since she released the Angron video, which will obviously be linked below, and if you haven't seen it, you need to see it. We've been talking, and I invited Ainsleigh to come and have a chat, talk about some stuff, some nerd stuff, some 40k, her inspirations and things like that. So I'm going to ask her some questions, and we'll find out who Ainsleigh is. Okay. So first of all, Ainsleigh, tell me how did you find out about Warhammer 40,000? Like, what brought you into this in the first place?
Okay, so I don't know if I consider myself like a full-on like 40k nerd. Sure. But when I first heard about it, I would have probably been in secondary school.
Okay.
And it's either secondary school or primary school, I'm not sure which. Right. But I'd go around on my breaks sometimes, or lunchtime sometimes, and I'd just see what other people are up to. I have a habit of doing that. I just like going around and seeing other people's what they get up to, what they do, how they live their life when we're not working all the time. And but I came across these 2 or 3 boys hiding under a stairwell, and they were like little stair trolls, like hunched over these white dwarf magazines.
Okay.
And like, I don't know if I knew what it like, if I'd heard of White Dwarf before that, or if that's what they said they were. I think they said they were White Dwarf magazines. Right. And like, because I knew that these were nerdy people, I talked a bit about like various video games and stuff with them before.
Yeah.
Other than telling me they were White Dwarf magazines, I didn't really know much beyond that. I didn't know if it was like a comic, like I thought it might have been, could have been something else. So that was my first interaction on discovering what this whole thing was. And when I was in college, I was dating this guy, and he had some nerdy friends who were into board games and stuff like that, and anime and things. Up until then, I kind of felt like I was the only one. So it was really cool, getting involved with like other actual people and playing board games with other people for the first time. When we went into because we lived in Weston at the time, and we went into Bristol for a day, and we took a look at the Games Workshop that was there. Neither of us had played before, so we wanted to like go in, see what it was like. Did the whole free miniature painting, went away with our little miniature model, via base Space Marine fact they give you. And we played a couple of games, and it was cool, but like for me, I was very much invested already in Magic the Gathering. And you can only afford so many hobby sinkholes, and trust me, I have a lot of hobbies. Like I have too many things to put money into. So playing Warhammer long term just wasn't really viable. But it was cool. I liked my miniature, I liked doing the painting and stuff, but we just didn't keep it up. And then I guess so my first real interaction with it actually would have been the computer games.
Okay, which one?
So I actually started on Soulstorm.
Dawn of War. Okay.
No. Okay. I'd started on Dawn of War, Dark Crusade.
Right. Okay.
With the Necrons.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So I quite like that. Because I was really into strategy games, board games. Sorry, not board games. I wasn't doing board games. Computer games.
Yeah.
So I liked Age of Empires. I liked like my city building as well, like Caesar Free and all of those sort of things. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, you know, if you've played Age of Empires, then, you know, anything to do with that genre is just like, yes.
Yeah.
Especially, you know, if you've got a cool sci-fi looking one as well. So, you know, I also liked my liked Unreal Tournament. So it was kind of a good mash between Age of Empires and Unreal Tournament.
Yeah. Combines it all, yeah.
Yeah, because I had the 2004 like collector's edition, like the, you know, the box set.
Yes, okay. So all right, that's yeah. I honestly think that Dawn of War and also a bit later on the third person shooter Space Marine, I think they were such great entry points because, and this is kind of leading into the next question I want to ask you. But just the point you bring up, obviously, you know, your experience with White Dwarf as well. Certainly, when you know I was younger, just that kind of exposure to it. Like I'd see White Dwarf, or I'd look in the Games Workshop window, and it's like, oh, it's like a magic world. It's like, but yes, it's so expensive and
it's like I don't know what this means, but it looks cool.
Right? I'd see the like the Lord of the Rings, like the Riders of the Rohirrim sort of staged in a battle and stuff, but yeah, like the Dawn of War, Space Marine, I think were great entry points for a lot of people. And okay, so let me segue that through into the next question, and it's more about general geek culture, nerd culture, however you want to describe it. We know what it is, right? It's our anime, our Magic the Gathering, Warhammer miniatures, all these things. What brought you into that, and what do you like about it, and why are you in it? Just unload about
it. Okay, so to be honest, I think I was, like, put it this way, if we call ourselves nerds here, I was a nerd before I realized what a nerd was. And, you know, obviously not before it was cool, but like, you know, for our age, like, you know, because I would have been in primary school. I would have been about 6 or 7.
Okay.
And or even younger. Because I remember the first time that I played a PlayStation game. And yeah, I would have been 6 or 7, and one of my mum's friends had a PlayStation 1, and they had Tekken on it, like Tekken 2, and like I constantly, like, they'd be wanting to do adult things all the time, you know, conversations, like, you know, getting away from their lives.
Yeah.
And I'd just be there, hey, please, can I play a PlayStation? Can I play a PlayStation? Can we play Tekken? And every Christmas and birthday since I found out about this magical wonder box, I've been asking my mum or my mum's friend for a PlayStation for my birthday, for my Christmas. And every year they'd be like, no. And eventually the friend gave in and bought me my own PlayStation console. Wow. And with it, this was even more important because I'd never played these before. I was given a Japanese RPG, and it's in the original blue Blockbuster case.
Okay.
It is a not for resale Blockbuster game.
Okay.
And you know, there's no proper cover, there's no manual, because it's literally like, it's almost like a demo disc, but it was the full game. So it's like a black disc with like the number 1 and like helpline on and stuff. And that game is actually kind of rare. It's called Legend of Legaia.
Okay,
and
that one.
Yeah, Legend of Legaia is about these three heroes, and they have to go around the world and resurrect Genesis trees to get rid of a mist, and
okay.
yeah, get rid of a bad demony type things,
Yeah.
but they're not really demons. But yeah, if you go on eBay, that game is worth like 40 quid, give or take, brand new. So I don't know what that is, like $50-$60 or something.
Something like that.
Yeah. So yeah, that is my prized treasure in my very first own PlayStation game.
Yeah.
And I think it's what completely got me into the genre, because I used to draw quite a lot. I've always enjoyed drawing and painting and stuff. And one of my favorite paintings at the time was Monet, with Monet's Garden.
Okay, yeah, okay. I'm familiar. Yeah.
So I used to draw that obsessively.
Okay.
Whenever people said draw a scene, draw a painting or something, it would be Monet's Garden. And then as soon as I got this game, suddenly all my art turned to a Japanese anime style. And this was at about 7, 8 years old. And like, yeah. So, you know, I wanted to watch anime and things that was on TV. I wanted to watch Pokemon and stuff because everyone was into that, but I wasn't allowed. And yeah, it just launched from there.
That's okay. Let me. I don't want to take away from you talking, but it just made me really happy because my daughter's 11 and she's just this last 6 months or so started getting into anime, and she's always been an artist, like drawing, crafting, and she's really talented, and we've really tried to support that. And the last couple of months, she started drawing like Japanese style anime, like sketches and stuff. And she's pretty cool. So I was kind of worried she was going to be a cool kid instead of a nerd, and you know I'd lose my little buddy. But that gives me hope. That gives me hope.
Yeah, no, like I would absolutely love to, because one of the things that I really liked when I was younger, like going through the PlayStation 1 and 2, one of the other games that I liked when I was younger was this weird game called Gex, Deep Cover Gecko.
Yeah, okay, yep, I remember.
And what got me into wanting that, so again, I would have been about primary school age, or, you know, actually probably between 10 and 13, and the selling point for that game, because it wasn't the first game, it's the second one. The selling point for me was that Gex was voiced by Danny Jones-Jules, who plays Cat in Red Dwarf.
In Red Dwarf, yeah. Okay, yeah. Wow, okay. That's cool.
And so like, that kind of influenced me to a certain point as well. Buying and playing my first MMO, I used to do all the like cheap free Chinese ones where they usually pay to win and stuff, but never spent money because I wasn't old enough. And the first one that I got into was Guild Wars MMO, because you just buy it once in the shop, and like the collector's edition came with all this cool stuff, and you don't have to pay for it again. Like you can buy expansions and things, but you don't have to pay for it again. And one of the characters who plays this little short guy in there, Vec, he is voiced by the guy who was the Brain in Pinky and the Brain.
Oh, okay.
So, Pinky, we're going to take over the world.
Yeah.
So awesome. Huge history with video games and nerdy culture. I've also just set up my voice studio under my bed as well. So I'm really hoping to like slowly power into that, whole anime and video game genre with my acting. So
that would be cool. Okay, so let me. I want to obviously, with this being a World Eaters themed channel, I want to drill into that a bit. So obviously, like I mentioned, the way I know about you basically, and I've started talking to you is because of your Angron performance, right? So yeah, it's a defining moment for you. Love it or hate it.
I'm Angron.
Yes, good voice. I won't do that to you, but I might. But so why did you choose Angron? for your monologue. I mean, I know the story as to what the monologue's for, but I'd like you to share it, with us, like why you did the monologue in the first place. But tell us why you chose Angron, and also why 40K out of the entire collection of amazing plays and art, films and books and everything. You chose 40K, and that is amazing, and I'm so happy you did. But it does seem like it's plucked out of left field, right?
Yeah,
so tell us.
I mean, yes and no, kind of plucked out. I will admit that. But so what actually happened? So as an actor, I do a lot of auditions, not as many as I probably should, but I do a fair few. And there was this one year where I thought, hey, I don't feel like my acting career is going very far. How about I try doing a master's in theatre? Because I did drama, theatre, and performance studies at university,
right.
But I didn't realise there was a difference between an actual theatre course, like a performing arts course,
right.
and one with the word studies on the end of it.
Okay. I have no idea, but yeah.
Yeah, essentially one's much more theoretical, whilst the other one is literally like day in, day out, rehearsing, practicing,
right,
singing, all of that.
Okay.
And the other one has more essays to write. And I decided to try and actually apply for a master's at a conservatoire. Went around Royal Welsh College and various schools in London doing their auditions. And on one of them, there was this one lady, and for these auditions you need to have like a contemporary monologue and a classical monologue. Musical theatre, you might want to like learn a song as well.
Right, okay.
Just all these different things.
Yeah.
And so you kind of need to pull these random scripts like out of monologues that have to be between 1 minute long and 2 minutes long, something like that, usually specific criteria. You have to adapt them to different circumstances, and just have them available so that you can just do it. I'll be honest, I'm not a massive reader. I've got dyslexia.
Okay.
And I know a lot of people say, oh yeah, you got audiobooks, but then that's like, I need to find the audiobook of something that I actually want to spend my time to listen to, and then find the time to listen to it, which I find tricky. But this one person that I met, and I'm good friends with her still. We don't see each other as much as we should. Could, but because she's in Cardiff, I'm in London now. But what she did was really interesting.
Okay.
Instead of doing like a contemporary monologue from I don't know, A Streetcar Named Desire, or like just something that's
something
more
that
modern.
Everybody knows, kind of thing.
Yeah. Instead of doing that, she pulled out some lines from by Voldemort from the Harry Potter novels.
Okay.
And it makes sense now I think about it, but I'd never seen someone actually do that before. I never seen someone take a novel or a book that they were just reading to their kid and think, oh, this would be great for a monologue. I never seen someone do that before or heard of it. So I kind of took that idea and ran with it.
Right.
And like I said, I'm not a massive reader. I have like dabbled in 40K every so often and heard excerpts and stuff like that. But my partner, he is.
Right.
And that's another story. Like pretty much my first meeting was him trying to get me to play his miniatures, and that wasn't great. Like it was great, but it wasn't.
But you're together now, right?
Yeah.
It worked.
Almost 10 years
it
this
worked.
year. Like, so anyway, back to this thing. So I was like, okay, I need to think of these monologues, and how about spice it up instead of just doing, I have these as well. I have a whole load of contemporary monologues and classical monologues that were helped picked out. Like, you get a coach to pick things out that would actually suit you off, and you just think, oh yeah, I could do this, and then it's not really suitable for you.
Right.
So I have those, but then I was like, okay, Davey. So my partner's Davey.
Yeah.
I was like, Davey, what I need some monologues picked out from like books, comics, video games, and then eventually I can put that into like a voiceover character reel.
Okay.
And he picked out a few 40k ones, and he's like, this one's the most popular. I'm not sure if you'd like it or not, but this is the most popular 40k monologue that's out there. And I'm reading it. And he's like, oh yeah, he's big and he's huge, and he's like, I'm Angron, I hate everything, I hate you, father, I want to kill you. But when I was reading the text, it didn't come across like that. Okay. You have that in mind, because obviously they all have their voice modulators and things like that, and they're big hulks basically.
Yeah.
But the way that it's written, it kind of had I could almost see it like a play.
Right.
And because like I don't really know how to focus that, but yeah, the way that I saw it, it seemed like a play, and just the way the characters were interacting with each other, they're like, I could read into more of the underlying layers, like with Angron, he's angry and he's spiteful, but there, as I'm digging through his background, there's so much pain, not just from the nails, like, and in fact, to an extent, reading Betrayer, I'm kind of arguing whether yes, the nails cause some pain, but I can't help, because there's something that I saw where it's like they promised another wave of pleasure.
Yeah.
And like, I don't, yes, he's gritting through the pain of those nails, but it's more the internal pain of all the shit that he's been through, that he had to go through growing up. And this moment for me was Angron standing up to his brother and, just turning around and saying, it's really easy for you to say what you're saying and to just dismiss me like I'm nothing, just because you're daddy's favorite, and just because you had all these experiences, you're in charge of all this stuff and you're given all this power, and you think that you're actually better for it. The
privilege, right?
Yeah, exactly. And he's just, it's a state of being really heartbroken about everything that he's gone through, and then being faced off with this pompous, privileged silver spoon up his ass, And I just really like that.
Let me something you said there, and it was kind of in my head. I'm linking where you were talking about your experiences, as an actor or going for auditions and things. And in my head, as you were describing that scene from your speech, in my head, I'm playing it out, because obviously you've got Angron talking, right? And forgive me, I'm trying to put this in a perspective that's I'm not an actor, I'm not in the industry, right? But I'm trying I'm trying to relate. So, it's Angron standing there speaking, and you've got Lorgar kind of over his shoulder, and he's talking to Gilliman, and it's the tragedy, right? It's like a Greek tragedy. You see the battlefield, like the fire in the sky and the smoke and the sounds of artillery fire and bolter fire, and everything is frozen. This huge war,
Yes.
this battle has stopped, and the scene is just Angron temporarily as the protagonist because he's the vulnerable one, and Gilliman is the school bully. He's the spiteful older brother or the favorite child, teacher's pet. He's all those things, and Lorgar's there kind of stirring the pot. And I think you perfectly captured those emotions, that the vulnerability, the there's resentment in there, there's sadness in there, all those things. And when you were doing it in your performance, it really, I don't know, for me, and I know a lot of other people, it really came through well. I don't know, like, was there anything in the written speech particularly that kind of motivated you to portray it how you did?
Yeah, I'm just
There you go.
I'm just going back to the scene, and I think because I look at the monologue in itself, but obviously the monologue, it's not got Gulliman's lines in it or Lorgar's lines in it. It's just Angron. So, and I do this whenever I look at a monologue. I look at, the before and after. And the thing that stood out to me, the boot wouldn't destroy the song. He was part of the crescendo. And then it says, 2 Primarchs faced one, and Gilliman was cunning enough to back away and take whatever ground he could.
Okay.
That, where it says he backed away and took whatever ground he could.
Okay.
They're constantly clashing. They're smash, 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 constantly crashing, like teeth gritted, blood and tear, like sweat, and all of this bloodshed all around them, just like heavy and stench and thick.
Yeah.
And then Gulliman finds a moment to break away, to pause. And to me, he doesn't want to fight in that moment. He's kind of doing this because he has to. And the fact, I just think the fact that he breaks away is like, look, we don't have to be doing this. We could be so much more than this. Why are we doing this? He's questioning it.
Right. And
in return, but also at the same time, he's kind of, he kind of teases, Angron. He says, I've heard Lorgar's pulling heresies already. What brought you so low, brother? And, this next line, it's like almost kind of like when you have kids teasing or bullying someone else. It's like, did the madness in your skull finally refashion your loyalty? Did the machine in your skull suddenly finally refashion your loyalty into madness? Right. It's like, oh, boo-hoo, what's wrong? Yeah. Have you finally broken down?
Yeah.
And that's what makes Angron snap. Like, everything else is like, fairly standard when it comes between these brothers, because they're not exactly on each other's best side anyway.
They're brothers, they're not friends.
I mean, Lorgar's they're trying to do his best. Like, I actually quite like Lorgar. He just seems like such an honest character though, and and like he's literally written it like that as well. Is like he's like actually genuine when he's like smiling or looking at people with fondness and stuff. And
that's a good point.
And but with Gilliman and Angron, they're not on the best buddy team. Like, Angron hates him and their father anyway. And so this is just like a normal day for Angron.
Right.
And then he gets insulted. And literally just everything that he ever went through, all his actual problems are just thrown at his face, and just he's just treated like, utter trash, literally because of that in that one moment.
That's a really I really like that how you get that mentality, that emotional, how Angron would be feeling, right? Obviously, as an actor, that's a skill you have to develop, but like obviously as a layperson, sorry, I've gone out of focus a bit here. As a layperson, we don't think like that. Maybe if we try to, we can, but you don't. We read what's written, we read the speech, and we just we don't see the subtext, I guess. But with you being able to read it, because I presume maybe that's something of a curse sometimes. If you were, I know you said you don't read too much, but if you were, or watching a play, or you may you're like looking for those what's tying this all together. Is that something that happens?
Yeah. I mean, hell, it took a hell of a long time for me to learn that. Like, I remember being in primary and secondary school, and I just couldn't understand reading between the lines at all. Right. It's like, doing poetry in English class, and he's like talking about how he picked up the blue flower, and he's like, why is it blue? Why is it a blue flower? Why not a red flower? Why not anything else? And it's like, I don't know, because he has blue flowers. Yes, but why? He likes blue. Does there need to be a reason? But no, like I just found there's something quite timeless. I'd like to look at other writers' works within the 40K genre as well, but like I just quite liked how Aaron has this kind of timeless, almost classical. It's a bit like what you were saying with a Greek theatre.
Okay, yeah.
And like particularly at the start of each book, he puts in this personae, what does he call it? Dramatis personae.
Yeah.
So he's literally dramatis personae, like dramatic, characters, you know. And it just really reads like something like out of Shakespeare or something like that. Yeah. And certainly with the names that they have, if they don't have Bob and Philip and they have Reboot and Gulliman and Horace and
some of them are a little more on the nose than others, but but the Horus Heresy as a whole, because obviously Betrayer's like book 20 or something like that. The Heresy novel series, because it's changed, it's an old lore thing, but it's being recodified, I guess, in this series. But yeah, the especially the opening trilogy of the series very much has that Shakespearean play, the size and scope of it. Very, I'm not particularly well read with the classics, I guess, but I did go to public school in the UK, so not a private public school. I mean public education is what I mean. But
state school.
Yeah, state school. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've read my Macbeth and all my Shakespeare and Milton and all the other stuff in it, and it very much does capture that. I think I completely agree with you there. It's okay, so that does kind of tie into something else I wanted to ask you. And we're stepping away from the kind of Warhammer nerdy stuff, I guess, a bit. Tell us about, as an actor, you're a bit about yourself. I don't know, your experiences as an actor, your work experience. I don't know, anything. Why did you want to become an actor even? Like, why drama? Okay. Why theatre? Why acting?
So actually, before the act, I was interested in the acting. It goes a bit back to what we were saying about, the drawing and the anime and stuff like that. Okay. I wanted to be so many things. Like, I've got a whole list of things I wanted to be when I grew up. The first of which was actually a lion. But blame Disney for that. The very, very first thing that I wanted to be when I grew up was a lion.
I hate to interrupt you. I'm sorry. I really don't want to, but I need to say this. for people watching it, as I said, Ainsley and I have been talking for a little while. And whilst I don't know what she's going to answer here, from our conversations, and we've talked quite a bit, from our conversations, when you said I wanted to be so many things, that's the truest, or the biggest truism, I think, because I was like, that's completely you. That's, yeah. I just, it was such, I don't know, it perfectly fit your personality as I know you, but well, I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's completely fine. Like, before I took acting seriously as a career, or when I was just starting to, I wanted to. So put it this way. So originally I wanted to do things like character design for animation and video games. I wanted to go to CGI animation. I played around with Maya and 3DX, which were like the two big,
I remember Maya.
Pro computer programs for animating for film and TV and games. And, I almost managed to get myself onto a course when I was in school still. But a college evening course for learning Maya. Almost. They only needed to fill 10 places and they didn't fill it, so it got cancelled. And this would have been like a several £1,000 course, right? And because I was in a low-income family and I was still in school, it would have been free, completely free. So if I did that, that would have actually absolutely changed my life. I would probably not be acting because I would be in some studio doing cool CGI for like the latest films and stuff. But, I'm not. But what I did try doing was, college, I did a year in graphic design and multimedia, thinking I was going to do animation. And then I switched course because it was all like business cards and letterheads, and we didn't actually get around to animation, so that was disappointing. So I switched my course, and it was a toss-up between performing arts. I was doing a BTEC, so no A levels. I was doing a BTEC, so I was tossing up between performing arts and media production, and being anxious me at the time, I didn't have the confidence to do an audition. So I thought I'll go into media production and I'll like learn behind the camera and maybe some animation and stuff like that, maybe become a director or, editor. And then I'll wiggle my way in front of a camera later on, like maybe in university or something, which is exactly what I did.
All right.
I went to a university that accepted me for both for a joint course in TV and film studies and drama and theatre studies. And then after the first term, I dropped for film and TV and just went straight drama, theatre, and performance studies.
Almost like it was planned.
Almost. No, I kind of wanted to continue, but I kept falling asleep in the TV lectures, and I just kind of got cold feet because like it was quite hard in college for me, and even though the university might have catered for more of it, it was just a bit stressful for me to try and do. So I dropped it, went straight drama, theatre, and performance, and I'm so glad I did, because I wouldn't be where I am if I didn't do that, to be honest. And I just kind of played from there, really. But like even when I was doing graphic design, right, I was doing 9 a.m. till 4:30 of graphic design and multimedia, like 3 or 4 days a week. And then on the Tuesdays I was doing that, and then I was going to a different part of the college, so the college was in different campuses. I was going to a different campus to go and do biology AS level because I wanted to be a forensic scientist or geneticist. I wanted to clone myself, so that learn to clone myself. Like that was the reason for that, because I wanted to be able to like study both like physics and science and all of those cool things. But also I wanted to do like all the acting and creative stuff. So I wanted to be able to like go off, do both of those things at the same time in 2 different bodies, and then merge back together at the end of the day. Like that was my idea.
Look, I mean, I respect the ambition. I do. Like, maybe a little bit scared as well, but I respect the ambition. No.
Like, even if it took me 50 or 70 years, like, I would find a way. Life always finds a way.
Yeah, there you go.
There's the actor media quote. But yeah, as for actually acting, what finally kicked it off, I think, was I loved The Matrix.
Okay.
And so yeah, like I wanted to be in The Matrix. I wanted to be like Trinity or Neo from The Matrix, and that's what got me into acting.
Can I just something broke my world today, right? Someone shared, this is nothing to do with anything, but it really hit me deep inside, and I have to share it with you, and I'm sorry for this. Someone posted on Facebook, like a meme, I believe it was a teacher saying they were, talking to their students, and their students said, they're, probably like 15-year-old today, The Matrix was a very popular film at the end of the 1900s. And it's true. Do you know how horrifying that is?
Oh God, yeah.
I mean, I know I've got at least 10 years on you, and that's so depressing.
That's so weird.
A popular film at the end of the 1900s, and it's true.
Yeah. It's so weird when we think about it, like, because it actually is, but like when we say for 1900s, we're like, oh yes, in 1960, like 1924 or something,
And look, I'm gonna do one more, and then I'm gonna leave you. I'm gonna let you carry on. But just what you said there, the kid, like,
bracing myself.
The kids today, right? Like my daughter, for instance, talks about the 1990s when I was, a teenager, the way I talked about the 1960s. And the 60s is so long ago.
Oh God!
It's so depressing. Yeah. I'm sorry. I look. These things have been weighing on me, and I needed to share them. So, and you brought up The Matrix. So look, I'm burdened.
I mean, it's basically half a lifetime ago for me. So right. Yeah, like, and to be fair, I do forget how old I am sometimes. So I've had that since I was, again, about 7 or 8. Like, okay. I actually convinced one of my friends that I was one age, and we argued, and we were like, fine, I'm gonna ask my mum then. Like I was like, fine, we'll ask my mum. She will tell us how old I actually am. And we got to my doorstep. This was a 10-minute conversation. We got to my doorstep, and I was about to knock, and I was like, no, I am this age because that's because of a way that the school terms work. And she was like, oh yeah, cool. And we just ignored it and carried on, and that was it. And then when we stopped playing, I went back home, had my dinner, I sat in my room, and I thought, oh shit, she was right.
So she knew your age and you didn't?
Yeah.
I'm going to have to dig up a Facebook status of mine from, I don't know, 8 or 9 years ago. I lost a year, or I gained a year. I thought I was turning 33, but I turned 32. I completely just ignored how old I was and just thought, okay, I did the math wrong. 1981, okay, so I'm 33. And it turned out I was so I've lived a year longer than I've actually lived, at least in my head. So
but it's kind of understandable when we get to, like our 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, etc. But when you're 7, when you're 7 and you manage to convince yourself and someone else that you're actually 8, that's quite impressive, I think.
Yeah, that is impressive. That's to convince yourself. I can see, being a sort of wily, tricksy kind of your kid, you could convince a friend, no, because of the way the school's terms work, like you said, you can play some games if you're coming. But to convince yourself, that's a special kind of...
I genuinely thought I was a year older than I was, genuinely. And that's,
Oh my gosh. All right, so, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to distract you.
Where were we? Oh, so, right. Career.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, so yeah, there was uni. I started out doing a bit of extra work, and I found myself a niche doing. So I was doing a bit of acting, but to pay the bills, I was doing some other stuff. And no, but not stuff. Like, I mean,
I wasn't going to say anything because
I know that is a genuine like memed thing of like, if you're trying to go into acting, you will do things to pay the bills and to pay your college or university. No,
I don't.
Well, not that at
all. But listen, I know. I mean, you've already. I know from what you've told me before. But yeah.
For me, the dirty stuff was being an extra.
Oh my! I hope
no casting directors are seeing this, or my agent.
I don't know.
Please don't tell my agent.
Is that really
she knows.
A bad thing? Is it a bad?
It can be. Really? It can be. Okay. Like, because I know there's a massive difference in like American agents don't really understand it. But that in the UK there is quite a big thing. But also it's partially to do with the way that you're paid as well.
Okay.
And I found this on one of my main jobs. So not just doing background work, but being short, I found myself a niche as a child body double.
Okay.
So what that basically entails is children can only work on set in the UK for 5 hours, and throughout the rest of the day they need to be in education or play or eating or whatever.
Yeah.
And so they bring on someone who's older than 18 who can basically stick out for however long they need, 24 hours if not really, but basically a whole day. Average filming days are about 10 hours on average.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So I found that as a niche, and the biggest one that I've done, you can find my name in credits, is His Dark Materials. The
HBO BBC.
Yeah.
Oh,
yes.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So you can actually, so on the very, very first scene, you do actually see, have you seen it?
Yes, I've seen the first season, yeah.
Okay, cool. So, do watch the second season. It's really good. Okay. I'm not in the second season at all. I'm not being on it, but it's so good. It's so good. I love it. But with the very first series, I was there from before they started filming right up to the final bitter end in December.
Right.
The very first scene where Lord Asriel gets out of a helicopter and a baby is passed to him.
Yeah.
I'm passing him that baby. Those are my hands.
Those are your hands? Oh my God.
So
that's really cool, actually.
I'm, and because, and you have kids or you have a kid, and you know how scary it is just holding infants, like babies.
Yeah, well, yes.
I mean, I'm quite small, so they're basically half my size. I'm like, but
I didn't mean to snort. I'm sorry. That's pretty funny.
Like their stomach is bigger than my face. Look, I think it actually is. Anyway, anyway,
you don't hold them by the stomach, just so you. I'm gonna have to rewatch that and see. Did you hold? Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Carry on.
Yeah.
Carry on.
So but you don't see it very long. But yeah, it's blooming scary trying to not only hold this baby. It's not even his baby. It's not my baby. It's someone else's baby. That they paid the mother. She's on set as well, keeping an eye out. And she's there to if it starts crying, because I'm just like in the helicopter awkwardly, it's crying. It's like, oh, sorry. It's like, it's fine. But yeah, trying to not just hold it, but you're passing this fragile infant from inside a helicopter, and James McAvoy is playing Lord Asriel.
Yeah, right, yeah.
He's opening the door, the I can't remember if the chopper things are going, and you're trying to pass this child over to him as carefully as you can without it. Sorry, I've got hiccups. Without it crying.
Yeah.
probably the scariest, probably the
blame...
scariest moment of my entire career.
I can imagine. I think the helicopter. I mean, obviously you were there, but in my memory, as I'm seeing this scene, because I have seen it, the helicopter is going, like, it's, you know, it's slowing down or whatever. But yeah. Listen, when my daughter was born, I've got an older son, but he's my stepson, so I wasn't there when he was born. But when my daughter was born, like, happiest moment in my life, but fucking terrifying. Like, oh my God, am I doing this right? And, you know, this is, you know, I've got, like, doctors and nurses and my wife right there and, like, all this, you know, I've been preparing.
Oh my God, I'm going to drop it. I'm going to drop it. Ah!
Not like, oh, okay, here's this newborn. There's, you know, like 3 tons of metal spinning around.
Wiggles.
And updraft, and you're a celebrity that, you know, I've seen in movies and stuff, and here's a baby, and I could see that'd be a little bit stressful.
Yeah. Like, you know, he's absolutely lovely to work with.
Yeah.
And, you know, so basically the person I was standing in for, which is why I was there from the very start to the very end, is Daphne Keane, who other people might know as X-23 from Logan.
Yeah.
I was about to say Wolverine. It is Wolverine, but yeah. So that little scrappy,
Okay.
yeah. So yeah, I studied for her for season 1 of His Dark Materials, and it was awesome because basically, like, and as an actor, it's so valuable for me because, you know, every day I'm learning all of her lines, like I'm learning all the scenes, I'm learning all the lines, but also I'm there on set doing her performance with these other actors, not on camera, but, you know, so that they get all the lighting and camera and stuff set up. But I'm doing all these lines, reciting her lines with these other actors.
Okay.
So, you know, with James McAvoy, and, you know, like, for example, when she, like, he slams Daphne onto the table, like when she, like, knocks the poison, like, yeah, I kind of did that first. I felt like, are you sure? You look quite, you are you sure? And I'm like, yeah, it's fine. I've done Aikido, so I know how to, like, you know, I'm not a stunt person, but, you know, I can do basic things like that. So yeah, it's just like, so yeah, literally everything. And yeah, it was so good. And you know, test rode the polar bear as well.
Oh wow.
You know, they don't show any of this on the behind the scenes. You know, they sneakily cut me out of everything. But yeah, I test rode the polar bear, made sure that it was safe before she got on it. So yeah, made sure it didn't bite.
That's really awesome. That's so cool.
So yeah, that was the biggest thing. But yeah, so on things like that, like I say, you know, so I have a specialist agent for these kind of jobs, and she's my main actor agent. And there's discrepancy between what an extras agency will pay body doubles and stand-ins and background actors, and what my agent tries getting me.
Okay.
So if I was still on those books, and I actually had to leave those books because I realized, right, this could actually affect my career.
Wow,
yeah. So yeah, and so in the UK, so that's why agents just don't like background actors or background agencies, and will generally say, you know, try not to do this, or if you do, go under a pseudonym or something, because it's just, you know, it's not professional in our country.
Okay.
And yeah, there's a huge pay gap between the two jobs. Yeah. Okay. So yeah.
That's interesting. I'm just completely obviously not familiar with that kind of controversial.
Yeah, but I know, like, in America, it's like, yeah, it's fine. You know, people start out in it all the time, but like over here, it's just like.
Britain makes zero sense for a lot. I mean, America doesn't either, but, you know, like, that just seems like a very strange thing to be so worried about, really. I mean, to make a big, like, to literally, you know, potentially prevent someone from furthering their career as an actor because they did they were, you know, like a grocer on EastEnders or something. You know?
I mean, you know, at the end of the day, like, and something like EastEnders, you'll start out like that, and then you'll get into like you'll get a bigger regular role. Like even the grocery person will become a regular role, because, you know, I think that's the difference between things like that, and, you know, the main, like, things like Netflix or, you know, big films and stuff. That's the main difference. Is like, I think things like all the I can't remember what you call them, but Coronation Street, Emmerdale,
like soap opera serials,
all of those.
and things.
That's
like,
it. Soap operas. You know, they have a different attitude because you are part of a family, or you are part of the interactions. So
okay, that makes
but
sense.
You know, that's one. His Dark Materials is one that I can talk about because my name is there. It's on the credits for all to see.
That's really cool. That is so cool. Okay, sorry about the break there, folks. I just had to take a short break to have a bit of a cough. So Ainsley and I were just talking about her past work, her career so far, and I want to ask you now, Ainsley, what's your your career going forward, your immediate future? What are you looking at? I don't know, audition wise. You know, where are you going now? What's the plan?
Okay. Well, first of all, blessings of Nurgle upon you.
Thank you.
Who would I be if I didn't say that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I understand. I mean, the blood god's ignoring me today, and Nurgle's in ascendance.
But yeah, so as for career auditions, okay, so a couple of things that I've been doing recently. So like I mentioned earlier, I've got my sound studio set up, and that's raring to go. I'm doing some samples. I need to get a voice reel like professionally done by professional people, and then I can start looking for work in that career. But I do already have one voiceover role to my name. If anyone in the audience, if any of you lot have any really young children, so preschool kind of age, I'm not sure when they're doing the next episodes. Like, they're releasing them somewhat sporadically, which is a bit odd. But there's a couple of episodes out so far of this little short animation called It's Gilly. And I play the title character, Gilly.
Okay.
And she's a little rabbit. She's a little rabbit who just like goes around, and you know, it's you know, no hard drama. You know, it's quite wholesome. So yeah, I'm doing that and it's based on a children's book series called Gilly Can.
Is that online or?
The videos, the animations are on YouTube. If you type It's Gilly and look for Little Rabbit, you should find it. And so there's that. And then you know, I've done some rep tour stuff. You know, that's what got me into the like got me coming down to London and going further. I'm half Vietnamese, and you know, not seeing much in terms of like a screen presence of that. You know, so like I wanted to delve into that. So I've been doing a couple more projects with that. And I'm actually collaborating with someone who I met through this process. She's going to be, curating. She's going to be, one of my friends is going to be curating this National Youth Theatre. Basically, the National Youth Theatre has been putting these Sunday sessions, they're called, hashtag Sunday sessions, and they're basically like based on around a different theme. And her one is called TV, as far as I remember, and it's going to be April. I can't remember if it's 16th or 18th. It's whatever the Sunday falls on. And I'm going to be doing a monologue on there. But this particular session is focused around BC, so British East and Southeast Asian actors, filmmakers, writers, poets, performers, etc. So it's a whole display, because like, you know, there's a lot of people who turn around and say, oh, you know, there's not much in terms of rep for that on TV and film. You know, it's getting better, but a lot of people are like, oh, but there's no decent like Asian actors, or like, you know, you just need to try harder. And it's like, no, we're all here.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what that is about. And it's just a huge showcase celebrating, you know, East and Southeast Asian in the arts.
Okay.
Wholly like hour or 2 hours of it. So yeah, I'm going to be doing a monologue on that. In terms of actual work, you know, actually paid work, like, you know, it's actual work, like it's all awesome. But it doesn't pay my bills. But you know, it might one day. But yeah, there's not much on the horizon for that. But hopefully this year as well. I worked on this a couple of years ago. It's a sci-fi, so it's quite relevant to this.
Okay.
So a crazy group of people decided to film a full feature-length sci-fi in the middle of Wales.
Okay.
Wales being that you know, arm of England. You know, it's not in England; it's in its own country.
Yeah, it's a weird. It's a principality, and yeah, I'm a quarter Welsh, so yeah, it's.
Are you?
Yeah, I spent a lot of time there as a kid. I did, yeah.
Oh, where are you from?
Well, I'm from London, but my grandma was from a place called the Vartic, which I cannot find on Google, but
maybe
I don't
spelling wrong, or she's making it up.
No, I went there, and this little town or village just in the middle of the hills, like I think near the Cwmbran, maybe.
Yeah,
I believe, but it was the arse end of nowhere, and bored the crap out of me as a kid. But my God, I wish I could remember where it was, because it's so beautiful. And
Wales is lovely.
Yeah, and then when I was 16, finished my GCSEs, went back with some mates, and we went to Mount Snowdon and climbed Mount Snowdon, and went to Bangor, and just, you know.
Bangor
is
Bangor was our rival, because I was in Aberystwyth University, so Bangor was our rival uni.
Yeah. Understandable. Just for the Americans watching here, Bangor is the name of the town. That is how it's pronounced.
It's spelt Bangor,
yes.
But like, yes, it's pronounced Bangor.
Yeah. But okay, so a sci-fi in the middle of Wales.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, this film was filmed in the middle of Wales, entire 6 days, non-stop, freezing cold. We got sunburnt, wind burnt, people dropped like flies. It was great though.
I imagine so, yeah.
Yeah, like very casualties, like, but you know, it was fine. Like, not actual casualties, like everyone survived, so you know, it's fine. But like just like, because it's one of those, it's very much taking its influence off things like Alien, and you know, and like, I guess like Pitch Black, you know, those kind of things.
Right.
So it's like, you know, they basically, the premise is they crash land on this planet. They're meant to help with the population of populating it, because, you know, Earth is in a turmoil. You know, it's the future. We're going to a new planet to call home, and they crash land, and they have a signal for where their base camp is, where they need to go. But it's like, it's miles away. So they're on this, you know, many hour, like 24, 48 hour, like skirmish, trying to get to that place. And there are things in the wilderness.
Okay. Which is true for Wales anyway, but yeah.
And not just for people.
No, listen, if there's any Welsh folk watching, listening, I love Wales. I really do. Wales and Scotland are two of my favourite places. But okay, so just as you were
hopefully
saying,
that will be finished editing this year. That should be hopefully this year.
Okay.
It's been a long process.
Can you say the name, or is it?
Oh yes. Okay, so it's called Offworld.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming you're. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if we want a trailer for it, there should be one on my playlist on my YouTube profile. So yeah, or if you find an active page or something, it should be there.
Okay, all right. Well, yeah, I will. You know what? I'll put a link to it in the description of this as well. So
low budget, but you know, should be good.
Hey, you know, a movie's a movie, right? But just something you said, or when you started talking about that, there was I don't know how, whether you've heard or not, but about a year ago, Games Workshop announced that they're making a show of Eisenhorn, which is a very popular series of books in the Warhammer universe, or 40,000 universe. And they're making a TV show. Frank Spotnitz, I believe it is pronounced, who did The Man in the High Castle for Amazon, is producing. I'm just saying, just throwing it out there. Do with that information what you will, unless I don't know. Does that sound interesting to you?
I mean, so like, I've always I've loved The Witcher. There's loads of like fantasy and sci-fi TV shows that I really want to go on. So it's definitely of an interest. I actually started reading, because I think it's based on specifically a couple of books like Pariah and something else.
Yeah, what is it, Xenos? I think that we're 8 books deep now. The first 3 are Eisenhorn, then it's Ravenor, and then 2 currently of Beckwin. But yeah, like I believe, I know it's like jumping around a bit.
Yeah, I don't know much about the book series. Like I said, I've just started looking into it, like, because I think Davey mentioned it to me. And so I had to look a little bit about it. Like, there's not a lot of information going on about it, so it's hard to. But I think when I find some free time, I might put an audition through. So I'm just reading. I'm reading Pariah at the moment, just so that I can see what I'd like to pick out as the monologue. Do one of those again. Maybe put it out to you guys. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see where life takes us.
Okay. I will say, all those books, this is Dan Abnett. Dan Abnett and Aaron Dembski-Bowden from, Betrayer and First Heretic. They're like, they seem to be really close friends, and they both have a very similar style. They have this really good way of developing characters. They pay attention to their characters, and like based on some of the stuff that you noticed as an actor about Angron, for instance, and obviously about the Blessed Lady, the Lady Cyrene.
Sereni.
Okay.
It's actually Sereni.
You're right. Yes, I remember reading that. Yeah.
Because everyone's been saying Cyrene, and she corrects everyone.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Dan Abnett has wrote and he has a very similar style to Aaron, or Aaron's similar to him, however it works. This really good character development, and that's really cool that you're reading that, because
getting into it.
It's good stuff, and that would be awesome. Like, obviously I know. Excuse me, one moment.
Blessings of Nurgle upon ye.
I don't need any more Nurgle's blessings. But that would I know that like it's got to be a lot of work and a big challenge, but I'm definitely, I just want to sprinkle that thought.
Yeah.
Take the thought. Take it.
I mean, we can dream. But, for anyone listening, I'm sure the more noise that people make, if they did really like my Angron, or they did like my, Sereni, Blessed Lady, because I have heard that, particularly things like with the Star Wars franchise and with Marvel and things like that, they kind of listen a bit to their fans, when they turn around and say, oh, we want this, or we don't want that, they have to turn around and say, okay, actually.
Yeah.
So, if people want to see me as a character in an upcoming Warhammer film, like, you need to make noise about it. And, I'll do my best to put stuff out there in return for you. Like
hashtag Ainsleigh Beckwin. How about that?
Hashtag Ainsleigh Beckwin. Awesome.
Yeah. But okay. Is there anything else you wanna close off with, Ainsley? Anything anything you want to shout out? I got a question for you. Do you have any Patreon or Coffee or Ko-Fi, I think it's called, anything like that?
I don't have I don't have a Patreon. I tried setting up something when I used to do streaming, because I used to actually do streaming a few years back, but I don't do that anymore. Right. But what I do have is I got a Ko-Fi because like I think I read that it was like a bit better than Patreon, or at least like for starting out, because like, you know, I personally, you know, if I want to support people, I want to be able to just do like a one-off thing.
Yeah.
And Patreon doesn't really seem to allow that so much. So I've gone for Ko-Fi, and like, I've not really done much on it at all. So I'll have to like spruce it up for you guys. But
but okay, so you've got one. So when we're done here, shoot me the link to it, and I can put that in the description.
Yeah. It should be like, it should just be Ainsleigh B or something. I can't even remember.
Well, I'm going to put it in the description. So whatever it is, we'll have it there, and we'll put that down there for you. Because this is for folks watching and listening. People like Ainsleigh, you know, actors, artists, anyone, you know, creating, especially if it is their primary source of income, right? Their job, career, what they're pursuing through school, anything like that. Over the last year, right, with COVID, what have we done to get through with it? We've watched movies, we've read books, we've watched YouTubers paint, we've relied on people like Ainsley, musicians. These are the things that help us just get through one more day sometimes, right? So something I really think is important is to support these folks. And, you know, here's someone right here who gave us Angron, you know, because I know anyone who's watching this is more than likely a World Eaters fan, or is at least a fan of 40K. Here's someone who took time in her day, in her life, and gave us Angron and the Blessed Lady. And if we're lucky, we might be able to get a few more monologues or you know, sings from her.
It does take me a while to prep for these things, so it's like, it's certainly not a day. Like, you know, it takes me probably like 2 or 3 days to finally memorize everything. Yeah. And, you know, as you see with a Blessed Lady, that is 4.5 minutes of me blindfolded. I'm not reading anything. Right. 4.5 minutes blindfolded, no cuts, no edits.
I cannot imagine. I know for me how long I have to take to do a very simple video edit, right? I can't imagine if I had to learn my script for a 5-minute video. If I had to learn my script rote, right? And then perform it flawlessly in one take. Get my lighting, get my costume.
Yeah.
I don't want, no. I'm quite happy.
And it's never one take. It's never one take.
Yeah.
Like, even Angron, like, I probably took about 20, 30 takes. Right. And it's like, because, you could just start out, and then within, like, the third sentence or even the third word, just screw something up. And it's like, gotta do it again.
Yeah.
And again, and again, and again.
Yeah. I have a very small inkling, or, you know, a small amount of, I can see how much work you put in just from the sort of limited experience, where there's a little bit of crossover in our platforms, I guess. But yeah, so folks, you know, people like Ainsleigh have done stuff for us, right? If we get chances to support people, I think it's a good thing, right? If we can afford it, or even if it's, you know, following her on Twitter, for instance, or hashtag Ainsleigh Beckwin, or something, boosting this video and sharing it, and not for me, because that sounds a bit selfish, but maybe you know someone who's in the industry, right? Is that how you say it in the industry?
Yeah, in the industry. Yeah.
Okay.
Or in the biz. In the biz.
Right, in the biz. If you know someone who's in the biz, point them
There's no business like show business.
I'm not doing a musical. I draw the line at a musical. I'm sorry. Not. But
For Angron.
I know. I just had in my head an orc themed musical. In this. Oh God. No. No. I'm not going down that road. It's too late in the day for me. Okay. So folks, yeah, please. I'll have all of Ainsley's links in the description below here. You know, if you haven't already, give her a follow, give her a like, consider donating some money, share her around. You know, that sounds terrible. Oh God, it sounds worse than what you said earlier about your other line of work. I'm sorry. Share. You know, Ainsley's profile around. You know, if you've got someone who works in the business, in the biz, right? Okay, Ainsley, I want to thank you very much for coming on and chatting with me for what's certainly an hour at this point.
Thank you for inviting me.
Oh no,
and putting up with me.
No, thank you for dealing with me, interrupting you and stuff. But yeah, thank you so much, and yeah, appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much, and thank you everyone for watching. And you know, say hi. Do say hi on Twitter. You know, I'm trying to be more active, and the more people who interact with me, the more active I need to be. So yeah, like say something funny, say something random. Like I don't care. Make me think, confuse me.
All right, folks, stay healthy, stay safe, and kill Main Burn.